Hello everyone. So, have you ever heard about software development lifecycle? How organizations are producing their softwares, or when you are, using any software. So you may see like latest updates or new releases, right? So have you ever think about it like how actually they are processing those softwares? What are the process involved in it? What are the steps they are following? If you are not aware about it, that's fine. We are going to discuss in this video. So let's start. So this is the software development life cycle which you are able to see in my screen. So there are four different stages you are able to see. The first stage is the planning one. The second one is requirement. The third one is a design, and the fourth and final one is a testing. Okay, so let's discuss all the stages one by one. So under the planning phase, you can see the organizations and the clients are written. So those are the people, those basically they are going to plan the software, right? So under the planning phase, they mostly plan about the project scope, right? When I'm saying project scope, that means like they are mostly discuss and the plan about like what they are going to deliver to their end users, right? Similarly, they are also planning about the project goals, okay, and they identify the necessary resource, those who are going to work on those development of the software, and they also plan about the project budget, right? Because they have some limited budget, or they allocate some amount of budget to create this software, right? They also plan about the timelines, or you can say the deadlines of the software to be released. So those all things comes under the planning phase. Okay, then move on to the next phase, which is a requirements phase. So in the requirement phase, whatever output comes from the planning phase, the business analyst and the management team, they are basically gather all those informations and put it somewhere in the document so that it should be written and it can be followed, right, for the next phase and the development. Okay, so this all two things comes from the planning and requirements. But all the team members, they wants to involved in it, right? So if you can see in this architecture diagram, so you can see in the design phase, the core technical team involved, the technical architects are involved, and there will be two technical architects. One will be the application architect, and the second one will be the infra architect. So let's discuss the role of those guys. So the application architect are those people, those who are basically designing the software, right? So they are responsible for taking the decisions to what all the skills they needed to design it. Like if I'm saying the skills, so I'm not saying like they are not skilled people. They are skilled people, but they also need some more skilled people, those who are going to develop this kind of a software. Like maybe they need some kind of a front end development or back end development, or maybe they wants to have some kind of a database integration, right? So those kind of decisions here, those application architects are going to take in care. Also they will take care the decisions like what all how they can customize that application so that it can be more flexible, more scalable, so those kind of things they application architects guys are going to take care those kind of decisions. So you can see in this diagram, once the application architects have all those decisions taken place, they already designed some kind of architecture diagram for that new development, right? So they given those whole architecture diagrams and all the roadmaps to the developer team. Then the developer, inside the developer team, there will be multiple developer teams. Actually it will be like it will be maybe some front end developers, some back end developers, and some database developers, or you can say database teams, right? So everyone is having their own responsibility. Like front end developers are basically responsible for writing the codes to design and develop some UI for that application. Like you are able to see that pages, right? The when you are logged into the Amazon, right? So you are able to see the Amazon web page, in front of you, right? So those, that whatever you are able to see, that is the UI basically, right? So the UI developers are responsible to, you know, write the code. There are a few languages which we will discuss in our next videos when we will talk about the front end and the back end. So for now, you can just understand the UI developers are basically those guys, those who are aware about how to develop the UI. UI means user interface, right? Where the users are going to interact on the software, right? Similarly, there is a other team called the backend development team. So those backend developers are you know, basically writing the you know, core logic of that application. Core logic means like when the users are going to click on the, you know, login button, then how the whole request will process, how actually this request will go to the, you know, database to fetch the details of those users, right? So those all things are you know, responsibility of the backend developer, which is also, you know, responsible to make an integration from the database to their applications, right? Then also in this architecture diagram, you are able to see this section, which is the infra architect. So you know, when we have all those codes and everything is ready, right? So we also want to run that software somewhere, maybe, you know, some servers or some particular, you know, cloud-based infrastructure or somewhere, right? So who is responsible? So basically infra architects are the guys, those who are going to take care all the responsibility. They are design the infrastructure in such a way so that all those softwares can run smoothly on the infrastructure. So you can see here those infrastructure people are basically design their architecture of the infra, and they given to those all requirements to the DevOps teams. Then the DevOps teams are the responsible to provision the infrastructure, set up the security for that application, deployment of the application, then monitoring and logging of those you know, application, where to store the logging, where to, you know, how to monitor those applications, so that if anything goes wrong on in that application, so you know, it will automatically get notified, okay, this application is not working properly or something like that. Once all those you know, is done, like your development is done and it is deployed on somewhere on the you know, servers, then it comes to the testing phase, right? So in the testing phase, basically what happened, like you know, the QA team basically involved, where there are, you know, the two kinds of you know, quality analysis they can do. One is the manual, one is the automation. Few of the testing which require the automation, so they write some scripts for the automation, and few of the, you know, part of this software may need manual testing, so they mostly do the manual testing, right? So this is how actually, you know, software development life cycle process actually. But I have created one more diagram for you guys, so it will, you know, make more sense to understand if we are calling the cycle, so how actually it is a cycle, right? So you can see here, the first is the planning phase, then it comes to the requirement. Once the planning is done, it comes to the requirement, then the requirement is done, it comes to the design, and after the design it comes to the implementation, and once the implementation or the development is done, then it comes to the deployment. Then you know, the deployment is done, it is going to, you know, move to the next stage, which is the testing. And the finally, you know, once the testing is done and the QA team is giving the green signal, yes, this software is working perfectly, then you know, you may basically the organization is going to release that software because QA team has given the green signal, right? Then from here, the testing team is done with their testing, so it is released and it comes under the maintenance phase, because everything is working smoothly and fine. Then it comes to the maintenance phase. So this is how actually the whole software development life cycle looks like. And you can see the roles of those you know, people, those are involved in all those cycles. Like in the planning phase, you can see the organization or the clients are involved to give you the actual planning and the requirements. Similarly, BA is responsible for gather all the requirements. Technical architects are basically, you know, involved to design their maybe the infrastructure or the software. Similarly, the developers are responsible for implementing that software, right? And DevOps is involved to, you know, basically doing all those deployments, whatever is written by the developers. And again, the testing, like the QA members are responsible for doing the test, like a testing of it. and once it is released and all is working smoothly, then it goes to the maintenance phase. And maintenance phase is the continuous phase basically, where the production support team are going to help with the maintenance stage. So this is all about the software development life cycle. Hope you enjoyed this learning, and yes, thank you so much for watching this video.